today's show, the Dallas Mavericks get a big win against the Knicks at home. No Luka again, but who steps up? The answer is everyone. We'll talk about that and more on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
You are Locked On Mavs.
Great, Rusty.
Your daily Dallas Mavericks podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Let it. I heard ESPN was playing this music.
It's because Ballwell was on the broadcast.
That's right. We had to bring the Raccoon Squad to the broadcast. And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being an everydayer, making Locked On Mavs your first listen today. Subscribe to our free Locked On Mavs newsletter, the best way to get NBA analysis and Mavs analysis straight to your inbox every day, free. Check the QR code on the screen or the link in the description. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet. You'll get $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. And joining me from the great Slightly Biased YouTube channel, the Postgame Prodigy, the Knickerbocker Boy. What you got for me, Slightly Biased?
If you don't look like this after a game, you're not watching hard enough.
That's right. Man, a massive win for the Dallas Mavericks. Another impressive win without Luka. We'll talk about the contributions from everybody. We'll talk about Dinwiddie. We'll talk about the contributions from my guy, Quentin Grimes. We'll talk about Naji Marshall. We'll talk about the defense that the Mavs played. There's so many great things to go through in this game. So we'll break it all down and all that. Let's start here, Slightly Biased. The Dallas Mavericks have again had another impressive win without Luka, and we won't dwell on that part too much. But to me, this team is just playing at a confidence level that is the highest we've seen this season, right? They had their low points. They've had their moments where you're like, okay, what is this team? I'm feeling bad about this team. They lost 4 in a row, Phoenix, Denver, Golden State, Utah, all by 1, 2, and 3 points. And now they've won 6 out of their last 7 games. Wins against New York, fully healthy except for Mitchell Robinson. The Thunder, not fully healthy, but still. The Nuggets with everybody except for Aaron Gordon. They've had some good wins in this last stretch. This is the most confident we've seen this Mavericks team, and everything is working on all cylinders because all these parts are collectively coming together and making this happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's really it. Like, PJ's playing some of the best basketball of his career. Naji's probably playing the best stretch of basketball of his entire career. Quentin Grimes is playing some of the best basketball of his entire career collectively. Spencer Dinwiddie's had 2 great games in a row. Like, everybody's just stepping up collectively. And it hasn't even been like Kyrie's dropping 45 points a night, and it's like he's carrying us. And I thought tonight, like, Kyrie was good tonight, did exactly what you want Kyrie to do, but it felt almost like a low impact game. And I mean, like, physically, like, Kyrie really didn't have the ball much, didn't bring the ball up much at all. Like, this feels like a game where he played in it, but it's not like 100% effort like you would see in other games.
When did he score first? I've been tracking this every game. I'm like, when does Kyrie score first? 3 minutes, 27 seconds left in the first quarter when Kyrie first scored.
Nice. I mean,
like almost 10 minutes in.
Was it a 3? I mean, that was almost as many points as the Knicks scored the entire
It was that weird. Yeah, it was that weird putback, and then he had a 3 right after that. But that's the thing, is that anytime the Knicks went on like a little bit of a run, you could trust Kyrie to get you a bucket. And honestly, that's what the game coming to him. When we talk about that with Kyrie, because that's the thing that we say with Kyrie all the time. He lets the game come to him. Everybody else is doing their thing, and then when the Mavs need somebody to come up and, you know, stop a run or get something going, or all of a sudden it's a 13-point game, we need something, Kyrie comes in and just casually goes and gets his bucket. That bucket he got at the end of the first half was impressive. The drive and the finish over the top made it a 60-38 game. Just an absolutely, you know, like you said, it felt like if you've ever gone to a Mavericks game and you watched Kyrie, Sean Heath, the Mavs PA announcer, always says bus driver with Kyrie, like bus driver, and he yells that. And it's like take him to school kind of thing. But it feels like he's been the bus driver the last couple of games where he's just like, all right, guys, let's go. I'm going to take you to this. I'm going to take you to this win. And everybody get off at their stop when they need to. Naji You go here and hit your floaters. Dinwiddie, you come here and hit some threes. PJ, you come here and finish some stuff in the paint. And like he just felt like he was putting everyone in place and driving them to their right stops during the game. It felt like, and it's working really well. And it is kind of wild, like you said, that it's not these games where Kyrie is just putting up 40. We haven't been used to that here in Dallas for a long time, where it's not just the star like stepping up in a way. This supporting cast is the best that it's been, and we're seeing the fruits of that right now.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't really get the bus driver one.
It's take him to school. Like you took him to school. Like that's the point that he makes. But I took it to an analogy in another way.
Okay, all right, that's fair. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of fair because it is like he's driving, he's dropping you off, he's taking you where you need to go.
But that's what he did.
But that's why you go out, you get guys who don't need every bit of their offense set up for him. There's a game, God, I don't remember. It might have been 2 years ago. Where Luka was out and the Mavericks had one of the most putrid, and I think it was before the Kyrie trade. I'm almost 100% positive it was.
Probably.
The Mavericks had one of the most putrid offensive games I've ever seen in my life, where I believe they missed 53s and got blocked like 12 times. It was the first time it ever happened. I looked into it. Oh my gosh. It was they didn't do anything right offensively. And God, we've come such a long way from there, where like these guys are more than capable of doing things by themselves and even like carry you in a stretch where your best player is not playing.
Yeah, it was about the collective. You mentioned PJ, and I really want to talk about him because we saw some confidence in PJ in this game that we just have not seen from him. 19 points, 10 boards, 2 blocks, and he hit all 3 of his threes. The first one was just a normal like corner PJ 3. The next 2 threes that he hit, OG Anunoby right in his face. Like, not a wide open 3. Not these threes that we've been talking about all offseason. PJ's got to be ready for these wide open 3s. No, OG Anunoby, really good defender. Some people think one of the best perimeter defenders in the whole game. Hand in his face, like right in front of him, and PJ just takes a 3 right over the top of him. Like that is confidence, and to me that speaks to the level of confidence that PJ has in his own game and himself right now, and that this team has in itself at this point, going through this 6 games out of 7. It's just amazing.
Yeah, and Falwell brought this up on the broadcast too. Is the Mavericks? We kind of talked about their 3-point shooting has been really not where it needed to be early in the season. And by the way, if anybody's like talking about, look how much better the Mavs look, like the ESPN broadcast was harping on this every 30 seconds. Like, look how much better the ball is moving. Like, Luka's gonna have to learn how to do that.
No, come on.
All of this stuff is stuff that we talked about early season, where it's like, man, the Mavs are missing a lot of shots. Like, things are going to look a lot better when they're making shots. Things are going to look a lot better once they start hitting
everything
threes.
Looks better when you shoot 50% from 3.
Yes, like the Mavericks were shooting so terribly from 3, but they've really picked that up in recent games, and especially from the corner. Like tonight, they were 7 of 14 from the corner. That's that's a really good number. Obviously, that's really high, but that's sort of where you expect this team to be at. This team generates so many corner threes, and as long as these guys are confident in taking threes and those corner threes, like Naji hit a couple tonight as well, again to the 2-3 rule, like you said.
The Marshall law. I've coined it. It's the Marshall law that Naji Marshall never makes 1 3. He either makes 0 or he makes 2 or more.
All right, the Marshall law added again, but the Mavs on corner threes over their last 4 games tonight was 50%, 50% against Atlanta, 40% against the Heat, 63% against the Nuggets.
Massive.
So I mean, is that stat real? It says it is. Okay. That's a high number.
Got to go look up that one again.
So, I mean, think about what that creates with how aggressive you've been so far this season at attacking the paint and getting downhill and getting to the rim. When you combine knocking down threes with that, you're unstoppable offensively.
This, to go back to a phrase we used a lot last year, this was a Magnets game for the Mavs. Right, like a positive one. Yeah. They finally got one in their favor. We use the term magnets because people have a conspiracy that sometimes there's magnets on the rim that allow one team to hit all their threes and the other team to not make all their threes. And the Mavs shot 51%, 17 of 33. This has to be their best shooting game of the season. I haven't looked it up, but the Knicks shot 24%. They're number 2 in the NBA on 3-point percentage. They shoot about 40% from 3. Second only to the Cavs, and 7 of 29 for them is really bad. So part of that is they missed a bunch of shots. The other part is the Mavs defense. And coming up, I want to talk about the Mavs defense because I thought that it did a great job going, like, especially in the first half where they held them to 38 points. Their lowest by 9 points in the first half this season. Let's talk about that and more coming up.
I don't believe you shouldn't be here.
Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook has all kinds of props and odds, things that you can use to get in on the action. And you can put down a $5 bet. And if you win that bet, you'll get $150 in bonus bets if that's your first $5 bet. And you win on it. Go see all the different things that you can do with FanDuel. They've got, let's see, NFL games for Thanksgiving. We've got Cowboys and Giants, if you're still into that kind of stuff. Cowboys, 3.5-point favorite against the Giants on Thanksgiving. We also have Dolphins-Packers. These NFL games are not very good on Thanksgiving. Dolphins-Packers, Packers 3.5-point favorite. You've got the Lions, a 9.5-point favorite against the Bears. That makes sense. The Bears are not very good. So all kinds of things like that. They don't just have the NFL. They have NBA as well. They've got all kinds of futures that you can do, awards, and things like that. Go check out FanDuel, FanDuel.com. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, listening every day. Appreciate each and every one of you for checking out the show. And thank you to everybody that came up to me during the game. There was a bunch of people that came up to me and either said Raccoon Squad or Locked On Mavs or Let It Ride or anything like that. Appreciate that. I always sit in section 123. So if you're at a Mavs game, I'm literally here right now. This is section 123. So come and say hi at a Mavs game. Also, check out the QR code in the corner to find different ways to follow the show. We've got our text line where you can subscribe to be a Locked On Mavs insider and get text straight to your phone. I send you all the reports. I sent a bunch of stuff today because there was a bunch of reports about injuries and illnesses and all that kind of stuff, and you knew exactly who was going to play if you subscribe to that. You can get our newsletter as well. All right, Slightly, let's talk about this game. I want to talk about their defense. The defense was smothering. I noted it from the very beginning, like just the first 4 minutes. I said Dallas' defense has been great so far. Very few quality shots for the Knicks. Some of it was the Knicks just missing a bunch of shots in the first half. In the first half, they shot terribly at the rim and terribly from like the short mid. They were just missing a bunch of shots like that. But I think the Mavs defense did do a good job in starting Grimes, Naji, PJ, and Lively. That's just such a great foursome defensively in the starting lineup, and I think they did a great job defensively on the Knicks, especially in the first half. Second half, the Knicks kind of found their way. Brunson started getting going, but first half especially, they really got it done.
Yeah, and I mean that lineup you just mentioned, very, very switchable, very versatile defensively. Mavs were switching everything. The Knicks played the Rockets a few nights ago, and it was like it was very similar. Like the Rockets play defense in a way that the Mavericks like to play defense earlier in the season. I mean, the Rockets. The Knicks lost to the Rockets earlier in the season. And their offense at times looked really, really wonky because they would run these screens and stuff like that, and it would just be another good defender switched onto you. And then it was like their offense would just sort of be like, okay, I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to be doing now. Yeah. And you saw that tonight. I mean, this was, I think, another great game for Maxi Kleber, who I thought was awesome defensively again in this one. Again, whenever he got switched on to guys playing well, but also his help defense was really good. The help defense from the Mavs in general tonight from their bigs was really, really good. And part of that, too, was guys like Quentin Grimes, who had a couple of possessions where he was getting, bodied up a little bit by Cat, but just doing enough, long enough, sticking with them long enough, bodying him up long enough for your help defender to get there. And, man, it was a really impressive defensive showing in the first half. The second half was weird, man. I know that the Knicks, somebody in my chat said that the Mavs went 8 minutes in the fourth quarter without getting a stop in this game. I feel like I've lost Nick.
I'm back. No, keep going. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back.
Okay.
Sorry.
8 minutes in this game without getting a stop in the fourth quarter. And it was like weird. It was like a prevent defense. It was like Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. Like you look at the stats at the end of the game and it was like, oh, that's pretty good. And then you watch the game and it's like, oh, like the Mavs were just selling out to stop 3-pointers and not foul basically. So yeah, it was a great game defensively from Dallas.
Very good. It was great to see them put it together and to have the bodies to go out and play a defensive game like this, to have Quentin Grimes, like you said, do just enough, to have Naji and PJ just flying around, doing the things they need to do defensively, everybody holding their own, and then Lively playing good help defense. And you mentioned Maxi. He didn't put up any stats in this game at all. Took no shots, made one free throw, one rebound, a couple of fouls, one block shot, but they just put him in there to be switchable. And with Gafford not playing in this game, it was kind of nice to have to switch all like every player basically in both lineups, because you could do that with Lively and with Maxi, and you can't really do that as much with Gafford. And so I think that helped make that defense work and carry over from when Lively had to be out because of foul trouble, because Lively had had 2 fouls in like the first 6 minutes of the game and was out for a lot of it and struggled with foul trouble. But that defense really got it done. I thought it was great. Nobody was going except for Brunson and Mikal Bridges in the first half. First half, non-Brunson Bridges player shot 2 of 22.
Oh my God! Yeah,
that's bad.
It was a mixture of great Mavs defense, but also the Knicks did not have it early in this game.
No.
OG was like falling. OG fell like 5 times.
He was like, I already put up 40 this week. I can't do anything else. It's like, that's it.
I tweeted earlier in the week. I was like, OG might be an all-star. Anne Hathaway would want this. And this is what.
If only Anne Hathaway was here. If only she was here. Instead, we got Tom Brady. So
I'll hit her up and we'll go to a game together next time Knicks are in town.
Is that better? Get the Queen of Genovia over here for OG. Yeah, it just wasn't going. Yeah, you could tell from them it just wasn't going. But they fought in this game. They just were missing a ton of shots at the rim. Some of them were luck, and then some of them were the Mavs defense for sure on them. But this is a team effort.
What do you think about the rotation for the Knicks? I just I'm a little bit the 8-man rotation playing playoff minutes when this game felt pretty much over like halfway through the third quarter.
Do you know who coaches them?
I know it's Tibbs.
Do you know who coaches this team?
I'm imagining if we
Have you
came on
seen
the
him?
podcast and we were like, why on earth did PJ Washington just play 42 minutes in this game? Why did Quentin Grimes play 40 minutes in this game tonight? Like,
they literally only played 8 guys, and it's not like they had a ton of injuries, right? It wasn't like they only had 8 guys to play. They had some.
Mitchell Robinson and Precious will be playing whenever they're back.
Yeah, I think Tyler Kolek
will probably knock out Sims.
Yeah, they need to add players to their rotation. They don't need to replace one of them. Yeah, 41 minutes for Josh Hart. I mean, that's just how they play, and it's how Tom Thibodeau, their coach, plays. He just runs them, and then they run into this in the playoffs every year. It seems like a Tibbs team where they just run out of juice and run out of gas.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like
Tibbs is also he's so set on this defensive-minded scheme, and this team is so not that. They score 140 points in games. They go out there and they dominate, they dominate scoring and all that. It's just a very different Tibbs team, and I think he's probably like, I'm going to keep my one thing.
Yeah.
One thing's I'm going to play these guys.
It's a testament to this Mavs defense tonight because this Knicks offense is really, really good.
Best in the NBA.
They are a great offensive team. And, the Mavs did a great job tonight. And, yeah, the Knicks defense, I think, is going to figure it out over time. But the Mavs took advantage tonight. It was a team that has struggled guarding the three-point line this season, which the Mavs exploited pretty well tonight, I would say. And this is a team that also struggles preventing shots at the rim and contesting shots at the rim, with Cat being the backline defender and then Jericho Sims. So it was kind of a perfect recipe for the Mavs.
It's wild to watch the Timberwolves right now miss Cat so much, and then the Knicks be like, we have Cat, we're doing great on offense, but our defense is struggling at the rim because it's not great to play him at center. And it's like they kind of just want to go back. They kind of just want to mulligan a little bit on some of that.
I think the Knicks are very happy with the trade.
The Knicks definitely less for sure.
Yeah.
I guess they just wish they had Mitchell Robinson, Isaiah Hartenstein back. That's when
they miss Hartenstein. That's the one. That's the kid.
That's one that they really miss. Spencer Dinwiddie. We've got to talk about Spencer Dinwiddie because this is now 2 games in a row. He had the game that I hoped that he would have. I talked such a big game about him over the offseason. He's a great get. The Mavs are, he's coming back into the system that he knows really well. He's played with Luka. He's played with, he's played under Jason Kidd. He's played as the third guy. He's played as the secondary ball handler. He can come in. The Mavs think he can spot start. He's going to come in and every once in a while give you, 12, 15 points. And that's all I wanted from him, is just to come in every 5th to 8th game and do something like this and have a game like that. And it just took him 15 games to figure it out. But now 2 games in a row, he's had great games. This one, what's he finished with? 21 points, 9 assists, and hit 3 threes. Excellent. Great. He was hitting some mid-range shots, some stuff at the rim. He got, Cat a couple of fouls here and there. Excellent. Great from Dinwiddie. That's what I wanted this whole season.
Yeah. There's still some of the shots he hits. And again, this is what we said last podcast. Was there are games like these where you have to remember these. You have to remember these when the bad game comes. You're like, why did he play 25 minutes? It's because any given moment, Spence can hit a pull-up 3 with a hand directly in his face.
Yes.
Or a sidestep 3 with 2 seconds left on the shot clock when you desperately need a bucket. And he did that. I mean, this game was kind of wire to wire for the Mavericks, but there were times here and there where it was like, all right, the Knicks have it within like 12 or 14. And then Spence in the third quarter is exactly what he did against the Hawks. The third quarter for Spencer Dinwiddie, 9 points, 4-4 from the field. Like, that was just stabilizing. Kyrie, I think, subbed out, I want to say, with 5 or 6 minutes left in the third, and he was about to sub back in. He was at the scorer's table, and then he went back to the bench and set the rest of the quarter because Spencer Dinwiddie just kind of, handled it.
That's what they need. They need somebody to just right the ship. Like, Isaac and I are going to do a trade episode tomorrow where we go through some trade targets early in the year, and a couple of my trade targets were like, can they get a point guard off the bench that settles it, that sets up their offense? And now I'm like, all right, if Dinwiddie's going to play like this, then that's all they needed in that spot.
Yeah.
And especially since he's 6'6" and can play some of that defense. He knows the Mavs defensive system because he went to the Western Conference Finals with them in 2022. It's just ideal. It's ideal for him to get it together, right? Like that was the ideal scenario. And 2 games now, he's got it. And you mentioned you have to remember these games for the games that he takes crazy shots and we're frustrated with him and all that. We just hadn't seen that. We hadn't seen that yet. He looked really bad the first 15 games or so, but finally got a great Dinwiddie game. We'll absolutely take that.
It's it's not just the threes. He attacks the paint. He makes things happen. I got to walk back a little bit some of my Spencer Dinwiddie stuff. Although I want to see what it looks like when Exum's back in the mix, but he's played well the last couple of games for sure. He
wasn't attacking though. We talked. How many times did we come on this show and go, "Oh, Dinwiddie, he's not even attacking the rim anymore. He looks, like he doesn't. He looks timid. Looks like he doesn't want to attack." And now he is. Now he's got that confidence back again. And
yeah, it's been 2 games. Like I'm walking it back a little bit, but he deserves his props for sure.
Just signs of life, right? That's all I needed to see was signs of life. Coming up,
Absolutely.
Let's talk about the others in this game. We haven't talked about Naji Marshall yet. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about some of the great things we saw from the Mavericks in this game coming up.
You don't believe you shouldn't be here.
Today's episode of Locked On Mavs is brought to you by Skylight Frames. If you have this issue, and I have this issue with friends, people in my life, where you're like, gift giving is not necessarily my love language. I'm not the greatest gift giver, and I overthink it so much. And then at the end of the day, I end up getting something that I don't feel confident about because, or I don't do anything at all and just skip it because I don't know what to do. So I've got an answer for you. Got the perfect gift for you. It's called Skylight Frames. It's a touchscreen digital photo frame for your whole family. People that everyone will love. Upload thousands of photos from your phone and watch them appear in seconds. It's so easy. Setup takes less than 60 seconds. Invite friends and family to share easy photos via the free Skylight mobile app or email. No account or subscription required. That's super important because some of these other ones, you got to sign up for this thing and do this. With Skylight Frames, you don't have to do that. So do that. You got 2 different sizes to choose from. It's better than social media. You can get, it's a great gift. Add new photos straight to your phone from anywhere. All it takes is a tap on your phone to send new photos to the frame to somewhere else. So you get this for one of your family members, and they're like, send me new photos. Send me new photos. I have this with a friend of mine who's, mom is always asking for photos of the new baby, right? So you can just keep sending new baby photos every day with Skylight Frames. So check it out. Special limited time offer for our listeners. Get $20 off your purchase of a Skylight frame when you go to skylightframe.com/NBA. That's SKYLIGHTFRAME, skylightframe.com/LockedOnNBA or /NBA. Get $20 off your purchase now at skylightframe.com/NBA.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
All right, Siley, let's talk about this game. Mavs get a win against the Knicks. Feeling good about this Mavs team. There was a moment in the game where I looked at the score, and it said Knicks 10-7, 4th in the East. Mavs 10-8, 8th in the West. Dang, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's crazy just to see the difference between that. Mavs would have like home court advantage with their same record of the East right now.
We are patiently awaiting expansion and or elimination of conferences in totality.
Geography-wise, if you cut it down the middle, Dallas would be in the East.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on. You have like it's disproportionate. It is disproportionate because you have the Grizzlies and the Pelicans.
For sure. Naji Marshall, another great game. He's had 5 20-point games now for the Mavericks. 5 in 19 games. How many 20-point games do you think he had his whole career before this?
I'm gonna guess 3.
5. Exactly 5.
Okay.
He's matched the amount of 20-point games he had his whole career this season already. He's just been great. He's an offensive creator. Tim Cato and I were talking we talked on his DLLS podcast, and then we were also talking today at the game. We talk all the time. We're just, we're friends like that. We were talking about him, and we were like, in the first half, we were like, kid's got to stagger Kyrie and Naji, because he's got to have creation on both these sets, because the Hardy, Dinwiddie, Jazz Gortman lineup we saw for a couple minutes just wasn't getting it done and wasn't creating anything. And Hardy had a real tough start to this game, and I was like, you just got to stagger him. It's amazing that I'm saying that. Like, you've got to stagger Naji with Kyrie Irving, because he just creates so much offense for you.
I told you guys this is what Naji Marshall did with New Orleans. And then he did make a couple of threes early in the season, and everyone was like, oh, man, I can't believe this. This guy stinks. I'm like, this guy does so much. Like, he's going to act like a backup point guard in some ways for this team. And I do not, for the life of me, get the floater. I don't understand it. It honestly almost feels like impossible from
it's
like
witchcraft.
a physics standpoint. Like,
he's like, so if you can't find me, look to the western sky. He's just like, it's magic. He's just throwing it in.
Yes, it is. He does have some Wicked Witch of the West, Wicked Witch of the East stuff going on. West or East?
It's not. The West is Elphaba. That's the one. That's Cynthia Erivo. The East one is the girl in the wheelchair in the movie. So if you haven't seen Wicked yet, it's very good.
Whoa, dude!
What?
Spoiler.
It's all in the press photos. She's in a wheelchair the whole time. That's not like a spoiler.
Okay.
This is the spoiler that it was good.
That was a good movie.
It was 10 of 17 from the field for Naji Marshall. Hit 2 threes. Martial law. He has to hit more than one in a game or 0. 24 points. Just he gets it done. He gets offense going, especially even against like Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby. He was getting stuff going, and you just gotta love Naji Marshall in this game.
17 shots, you said?
Yeah, 10 of 17.
That is the second most shots he's ever had in a game. I immediately thought, okay, that has to be a career high for him. Second most he's ever had in a game.
Beginning of the third quarter at like 9:45, he had a putback with Cat. Like he grabbed it and got a putback with Cat right behind him, contesting the shot. And he turns around and he just looks right in Cat's face and just like says something to him. That
little
they
boy.
need that. They need that. I think he said little kitty or something like that. I don't know what he said, but they need some of that attitude. Quentin Grimes also hit a shot right in front of the Knicks bench. Somebody said something to him at the bench, and he turns around and he whipped around and said something to him and had this like disgust look on his face, and it really reminded me of Dorian Finney-Smith, because he used to do that all the time in front of that, the opposing team's bench. But you just need some of that. These guys they're in it. They feel confident, and they've got some attitude, which they needed.
Dude, Quentin Grimes, man. I mean,
let's go.
Kill a kid. Look, we want to be like, I can't believe Grimes is doing all this, and he got a DNP in that game against the Nuggets. Maybe there's a cause and effect there.
Hey. 21 points, hit 4 threes, 4 of 8 from 3, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. Great game for Quentin Grimes too. My agenda, my propaganda, all that has worked. Grimes is an integral part of this team and can handle the ball and can make some stuff happen. He was taking it and pulling up and hitting some shots here and there too, and just he gives you so much. And defensively, I thought he was pretty good on Brunson. It's hard to guard him, man. Brunson is so good. He just can get his shot whenever. He learned how to score without rhythm playing with Luka. We watched that here, but. Yeah, Brunson finished with 37. Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize.
Well, there was a good amount of stat padding at the end there, but he was filthy tonight.
He was very good, but yeah, the Mavs got contributions from everybody. Anybody else stand out to you?
I thought I don't know if we touched on Lively or not, but I thought Lively played a good game. Outside of that, I really think we covered all of it. I mean, it was pretty much a top to bottom effort from this Mavs team.
It's like pretty much everybody had good games except maybe Hardy.
Are we firing Kid?
Are we? I'm not.
Well, I just want to say this because after every loss we do this, but this team's 11-8 now, and they're 4-1 without Luka.
So good. You know who we're firing? You know who
coach is pretty good.
You know who we are firing?
The review guy.
Who's in charge of the challenges? I think
was a
they're
terrible challenge.
That was a bad one. I think they're like 2-14 or 15 now. I think they've
That
only
one
won
made
2
no
challenges.
sense to me. It looked, the moment I saw replay, I was like, they're not winning that. And then
No,
beyond that, it was
ran
an
into
offensive
him.
foul, no
Yeah.
foul trouble, no free throws. Like, I didn't understand that one at all.
PJ ran right into Brunson. Brunson had his feet down, and he, Brunson didn't move, but PJ tried to get out of tried to move away and couldn't get away in time and hit him. And yeah, but that's if we're gonna fire anybody, it's the first to do the challenges.
Yeah.
So it is nice though to burn the challenge, to not have the players doing the replay thing every 5 minutes, right? Like,
it's refreshing.
I kind of think Kid does that every once in a while. He's like, fine, I'll do the challenge, guys. I think he did that with Hardy last game. Fine, I'll do it.
Oh, that one was bad too. Takes us back to the days of old. I miss this in baseball too. Like, I miss when guys would just get up and yell at the refs or the umpires. I'm tired of the immediately get up, look at the bench.
See,
challenge.
No, see, that's you just missing watching Luka play. You're going through Luka withdrawals.
I really miss it in baseball. I miss when they would get in the umpire's face and spit would be going everywhere.
Man, a great win.
Carton of dip in their mouth.
You feel better about this win?
Players have dip in their mouth when they play
because they could slip on the court if it falls out, I guess. Also, it's disgusting. Also, cancer. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of reasons.
Baseball players for dipping. I can't believe that's been like a socially acceptable thing.
They just get so bored out there.
I guess so.
They stand for they had 4-hour-long games. That's why.
Yeah.
Great win.
To ask before I went off on.
I was going to say if you feel better about this win or the Nuggets win.
I would honestly say this win
more impressive.
Actually, I don't know. They're both pretty impressive. I'm gonna be straight up honest with you guys. I did not think the Mavs were gonna win this game tonight.
I didn't either. I thought the Knicks offense was gonna come in and just set it on fire.
I just thought the Mavs would just struggle with their group to generate enough offense to keep up in a shootout. But that's not how it went out. I mean, both were really impressive though.
Yeah, and 2 impressive wins for the Mavericks. Guys, thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs. Check the QR code for ways you can follow the show. Appreciate each and every one of you for checking it out. We'll have a show tomorrow. Isaac Harris and I will do some trade talk. So come back if you're interested in players the Mavs should be targeting. So we'll do that. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs and hanging out with us. We'll do a show tomorrow, like I said. And Slightly and I will be back for all the post games. Thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs. Peace out. Boom.
Happy Thanksgiving.